Oh, hello music lovers. My name's Professor Dominic Ingram. You know I'm a professor because it looks like I've been electrocuted. Today I want to talk to you about Mozart. Now, what a man he was. That was one of his works I was just playing. That was his Piano Sonata number 11 in A major. Now, he created over 600 wonderful pieces of work. Sonatas, concertos, choral works, operas, not to mention his sonatas. And he died at the tragically young age of 35. But in that time, not only was he a great composer and performer, but he was also a chess grandmaster. He built his own shed in his garden, and he was a member of the local darts team. What a man! But before we start, I must thank our sponsors, without whom this video and the payments on my brand new That's an Insult wouldn't be possible. Rob's Rubber Works of Rochester. They make almost anything made of rubber. From the seals that make the leak end to something for the weekend. Rob's Rubber Works. Purveyors of quality rubber goods to all of Kent since 2016. Now, Mozart was born in 1756, which is just before 6 o'clock, and his mother christened him, get this, Johannes Christosimus Wolfgangus Theophilus Mozart. I think it must have been a difficult birth, but he later called himself Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart. And here's a picture of him as a younger man playing on the piano, at the piano, which they called the clavicle in those days. And here's a picture of me in a field having a beer. And yet strangely, apart from a few music teachers and the 14 people who listened to Radio 3, hardly anybody had heard of Mozart until 1984, when the film Amadeus came out, starring Charlton Heston and Julie Walters as Mrs. Mozart. Wolfgang was born in Salzburg, which in those days was part of the Holy Roman Empire, until it was invaded later by Hitler, who named it Austria. Now, Mozart's childhood was unremarkable. He lived at home in Salzburg with his mum and his dad and his two sisters, Wolfina Lucretia Salmonella Mozart, and his younger sister, Wolfbreath Hippopotamus Chlamydia Mozart. Difficult births were common in the 1700s. They had a typical middle-class home with a dog, a cat, and a canary. Many households had canaries, so they're very useful. Imagine coming home late at night from the pub and the canary was dead. Well, you knew then that you'd left the gas on and you wouldn't light up a woodbine. The popular choice of cigarette in the late 1700s. He moved from Salzburg to Vienna and became known as a brilliant pianist, a violinist and an organist. But he didn't advertise the fact that he was an organist because it was illegal in those days, punishable by castration. But it was in Vienna that he wrote his most famous opera, a Greek tragedy based on a group of charioteers from Athens called The Four Horsemen of the Acropolis. Wonderful work, which he went on to play in Rome in front of the very pontiff himself, in the Vatican, in front of Pope Spartacus IV, performed in the pristine chapel. But he needed a wealthy sponsor, so he went looking for work, which was difficult because all the opera houses in those days had closed down and turned into cinemas, and the only work you could get was playing the mighty Wurlitzer, which, as we've seen, can be hazardous for a man wanting to raise a family. I'm going to have to end this part of the lecture because my kitchen's on fire. But don't forget, you can get a DVD of this lovely work just by sending a crisp £20 note with your name and address on the back, your bank details and your card number, and to the address which is coming up later. So thank you, fellow music lovers. We'll see you again at my next video, which will be how to change the clutch on a 1977 Vauxhall Viva. Thank you, everyone. Well, I think that's a wrap, don't you? I love educating people. It just makes life so worthwhile. Is dinner ready? Yeah, I'm bloody starving. Hope you enjoyed that. It's just a bit of a laugh in these slightly difficult times. So stay strong, be nice to someone, and oh, did you spot the deliberate mistake?